Before we get started, I want to tell you a little more about this one. The episode you're about to hear first aired back in April, and I'm bringing it back to open the summer because the truth in it hasn't gone anywhere. If anything, it matters more now than it did then. It's also a bit of a first for us. The leadership story has a video home now, so however you're here with me today, listening wherever you get your podcast or watching for the first time, I'm glad you're here. Okay, here's the episode. Have you ever opened an email, answered a phone call, or walked into a meeting only to realize that moment that everything was about to change? If you experience a moment like this is an episode for you. I'm Lisa Jones, and welcome to the Leadership Story, where we talk about real women, real leadership, and real resilience. In today's episode, I'm facing this head on because I'm diving in deep into something most people don't want to talk about: unexpected job loss. If the last few months have taught me anything, it's that losing a job you didn't expect to lose changes something inside you. And the irony is, I spend my time helping other people navigate crisis. I've built resilience programs for organizations. I've guided teams through their worst moments. And I thought I understood what that meant. Then I became the crisis. If you subscribe to the Leadership Story on Substack or the Leadership Story newsletter on LinkedIn, you may be familiar with my article I recently published called "Congratulations, You've Been Restructured." And it resonated with a lot of people. But I realized something. An article only goes so deep. There's more I want to say. So I'm bringing that conversation here to the podcast, where we can really dig into what's happening and what it means for women navigating this moment. So let's start with this. The numbers right now are staggering. Amazon laid off 30,000 people between Q4 2025 and early 2026. UPS cut 30,000 jobs in the beginning of this year, and Oracle recently laid off 30,000 people. We're talking 90,000 jobs eliminated from just 3 companies. And those are just the headline layoffs. There are hundreds of smaller cuts happening across industries every single day. That doesn't make the news. But the headlines don't capture what it feels like to be one of those numbers. One moment you're thinking about your calendar 3 months out. The next moment, you're staring at empty days, trying to figure out how you're going to make your next mortgage payment. For me, I didn't see it coming. And that's the part that alters everything. Because when you're prepared, you know something might happen. So you brace yourself. You get all your ducks in a row, like updating your resume, looking at your finances to ensure that you have enough cushion in place. But when it catches you off guard, that's when the disorientation sets in. That's when you start asking questions you didn't expect to ask. Did I see this coming? Was there a sign? Should have seen this coming. And underneath it all, there's an underlining question that we don't always want to say out loud, and that is this somehow my fault? Now, I know some of you are listening right now are in this exact moment. Maybe you got that email this week. Maybe it was last month and you're still trying to process it. Maybe you're watching other people go through this, wondering when it might happen to you. All those are valid places to be, and none of them require you to have it figured out yet. So here's what happens the moment you find out you've lost your job. Everyone becomes an expert in your situation. Update your LinkedIn. Start networking. Get your resume polished. Apply to everything. The message is relentless and unspoken. Keep moving. Don't stop. Don't feel. The well-meaning people in your life tell you this is an opportunity, a chance to pivot, a blessing in disguise. And maybe, eventually, some of that will be true. But in the moment, like right now, you just might be scared, angry, exhausted, wondering how you're going to make the rent or explain it to your family. And what I want to say, and I mean this, you don't have to be productive in your grief. Losing a job, especially unexpectedly, it's a real loss. And you get to feel whatever you're feeling without immediately jumping into hustle mode before you've even processed what happened. The pressure to be on 24/7, to spin this into something inspiring before you're ready, is real and it's unfair. Here's something else no one tells you. When you lose your job, other people get uncomfortable. And somehow, without anyone saying it explicitly, you'll feel pressure to make them feel better about the situation. Your family will worry, so you'll reassure them you're fine. Your former colleagues feel guilty they still have jobs, but you'll perform optimism to ease their survivor's guilt. Your friends will want to help, but they won't know how. So you'll manage their discomfort while navigating your own crisis. And what I want to say, you're not obligated to do that. You don't have to minimize how hard this is to make others comfortable. You don't have to perform gratitude for the opportunity when you're still angry. You don't have to reassure people you're fine when you're not, or even act like this is all part of your master plan. And definitely, you don't need to protect others from the reality of what you're going through. This is your crisis. You get to feel how you feel without packaging it in a way that's pleasant for anyone else. If someone asks you how you're doing and you're not fine, you can say honestly, I'm struggling. And if they can't handle the truth, like Jack Nicholson said, you can't handle the truth. That's their work to do. That's not yours. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go through this alone either. There's a difference between managing other people's anxiety about your situation and getting genuine support. Support means leaning on people who can handle your reality without needing to fix it for them. It means friends who can sit with you in the mess without immediately trying to solve it. It means accepting help from people who respect your boundaries when you say, not now, or I need something different. One strengthens you, the other drains what little energy you have left. I'm not going to sugarcoat this because the market in 2026 is crazy. It's tough. Employers are hesitant, caught between economic uncertainty, policy changes, political unrest, the ongoing impact of AI on workforce planning. What we're in right now is called a low hire, low fire environment. Companies aren't mass hiring, but they're not actively contracting either. They're being more strategic, a little more cautious. And that changes the game for people like us looking for work. What that means pragmatically is job searches are taking longer. The average time to find a new position has increased, especially in corporate and tech roles. We're competing against more qualified candidates, Major layoff has flooded the market with talented people with impressive resumes. Like I said, 90,000 people were let go by the end of February of this year. Companies are making strategic selective hires for critical roles, not broad workforce expansions. Some sectors are growing: healthcare, certain professional services, tech startups, while others are contracting, such as logistics and retail. Now, I'm not saying this to be pessimistic. It's about being realistic so you can make informed decisions about what comes next. And here's something that adds another layer of complexity. If you're over 40, and especially if you're over 50, the job search right now is harder. And that's not me trying to discourage you because, listen, I fall in those categories. Let me give you some numbers. When older workers get laid off, they take longer to find new employment. The North Carolina Department of Commerce reported that 61% of job seekers aged 55 and above were reemployed 1 quarter after their layoff. Now compare that to 68% of people aged 25 to 54 and 74% of those younger than 25. Now that's a meaningful difference. And here's what's particularly relevant for women. Long-term unemployment, 27 weeks or more, impacts 32% of unemployed older workers, compared to just 21% of younger workers. But the part that hits the hardest, this discrimination is gendered. Women between the ages of 45 and 74, 72% believe age discrimination is a real problem at work. Men in the same age range, 57%. And women begin experiencing age bias earlier than men do. Women start facing ageism as early as age 40, and men typically don't encounter this age bias until their 50s. Think of actors and how it's commonplace to hear of women being aged out of roles when they hit a certain age, yet men are considered more marketable and can get access to more roles than women. Now, here's the hiring reality. Older women need to submit significantly more applications to get interviews. One study found that older women aged 50 and above needed 27 applications on average to receive one interview offer. And young women, just 19 applications. Now that's 42% increase. And I'm watching this happen in real time. Women with 20, 25 years, 30 years experience in their fields being passed over for younger candidates with half the experience. According to a 2026 AARP survey, 64% of workers 50 or older have reported seeing or experiencing age discrimination. And for women, that number is even higher. And nobody wants to say it out loud. So these women are left wondering, did I do something wrong? Am I overqualified? Is it my resume? Is it something I said in the interview? Sometimes yes. There might be things to refine, but often it could be ageism. And women often face what's called gendered ageism, where age and gender discrimination intersect. While older men are viewed as seasoned and experienced, like I said before, older women are more likely to be labeled out of touch, past their prime. The sooner you name this, the sooner you can make strategic decisions about how to position yourself. This might mean reconsidering your resume, being strategic about how far you go back, thinking about fractional or consulting work where your experience is an asset, not a liability. Exploring industries or roles where seniority is valued, where depth of experience matters. Being intentional about where you apply. Listen, not every company is worth your time. Some will never get past their own biases. Considering roles that leverage what you know while opening new doors. The injustice of it doesn't change the reality. What I'm asking you to do, look at it straight on, name it, and then make choices that work for you. Not choices that pretend the biases don't exist. Because here's what I know. Your experience isn't baggage. Your perspective isn't outdated. Your proven track record isn't a liability. But the job market doesn't always see it that way. So you have to be smart about where you put your energy and how you present yourself. That's literally strategy. And in a tough market, strategy beats hope every single time. I'm going to say that one again. Strategy beats hope every single time. I need to talk about something personal here because I think it's important. Now, I'm a woman of faith. I believe God has a plan. I believe that things work out the way they're supposed to. I believe that even when you can't see it, there's a purpose to what we're walking through. But, and this is important, faith doesn't mean you skip over the hard parts. It doesn't mean you aren't allowed to be angry. It definitely doesn't mean you minimize the disappointment or even pretend it didn't hurt. When I got the news, I was mad. I also was devastated. I went through a range of emotions that I hadn't experienced in a long time. I was angry at the company. I was angry at the situation. I questioned why this was happening. I questioned the timing. I questioned what it meant about me. I found myself tearing up for no reason. And my faith, my genuine faith, allowed me to do that. It allowed me to feel all of it without shame, without needing to immediately turn it into something redemptive or positive. I think there's a pressure in faith communities to move quickly from crisis to gratitude, to say, praise God, before you even process the pain. And I'm not judging. People express faith differently. But what I know about myself is this: my faith is big enough to hold my disappointment. My faith is big enough to say, this situation is unfair and I'll believe I come through it. The timing is terrible and I trust there's a reason for it. I'm angry right now and I still believe in God's goodness. Those things can be true at the same time. Your emotions are not a failing of your faith. Grief, anger, disappointment, fear, these aren't signs that you don't believe hard enough or pray well enough. These are signs that you're human, that you're not God, that you're experiencing a real loss, that something you valued was taken from you, or even something you didn't value was taken from you and you couldn't control it. So your anger, your doubt, your why me, that's not breaking your faith. That's part of it. And what I found in this is that my faith becomes stronger when I don't try to skip over the hard feelings, when I ask the hard questions, when I allow myself to be disappointed, because that's when faith isn't about what I believe in the abstract. It's about what I believe when everything is falling apart. And that's a different kind of faith. That is real faith. Do I believe things will work out? Of course I do. Do I believe there's a purpose to this? Absolutely. Will I look back at this moment and see it differently? Probably. But right now, I'm allowing myself to grieve. And my faith doesn't ask me to hide that or rush past it. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit. I've talked about the reality. I've talked about ageism, faith, the pressure you're facing. Now, let's talk about the practical stuff. Take care of the basics first. Before you do anything else, before you even open LinkedIn, handle the logistics. This isn't glamorous. It won't make an inspiring post, but it matters more than anything else in the first 48 hours. File your unemployment benefits immediately. Don't wait. Don't assume you're not eligible. File, because also it can be a little tricky and every state is different. Understand your severance package if you got one. Read everything and ask questions because you don't want to be caught off guard. Know your health insurance options. When are the COBRA deadlines? Because they're strict. Do you have an FSA? How much is left in your account? And when do you need to use it before you won't have access to it? Review your finances. Create a bare minimum budget, not an aspirational budget, just a survival budget. Like, I need to pay my mortgage, my utilities, I need food, I gotta eat, I need gas for my car. What would that look like? Contact your creditors if you need payment arrangements. They're a foundation for everything that comes next. Get them done first. Now, you also need to give yourself permission to pause. Now, I know what you're thinking. I can't afford to pause. Life is life and I got bills to pay. Do you see how much gas is? I get it. And you're right in a way. Bills don't stop. Life don't stop. But here's what I actually mean. You don't have to apply to 50 jobs this week. You don't have to have your entire next move figured out by Friday. You don't have to be productive on someone else's timeline. If you can, just take a few days. Breathe. Process. Pray if you have to. Rage. Cry. Sleep. Watch terrible TV. Jam to your favorite playlist until your voice goes hoarse, because that's what I like to do. Just do whatever you need to do to help yourself manage through the experience. The job search, it'll be there next week. I promise. I promise. But if you burn yourself out in the first sprint, you won't have the stamina for what might be a marathon. And sustainable, strategic job searching beats desperate, exhausted searching every single time. You also have to manage the avalanche of advice that you'll receive. Now, you remember, the moment people find out you lost your job, the advice starts pouring in. Your aunt will tell you about your neighbor's daughter who got laid off and started a business doing amazing. Your former boss will suggest you just reach out to this contact to some company you ain't never heard of. Your LinkedIn will blow up with articles about rebranding yourself and turning this into your rebirth and walking into your next life. And they all mean well. I know they do. But you get to set the boundaries around other people's advice. What you can say is, hey, I appreciate you're thinking about me. I'm being strategic about what I applied for right now. You can say, thank you for the suggestion. I got a plan and I'm working through it. You can also say, when I'm ready for your advice, I'll ask. But right now, I just need your support. And what you don't have to explain is why you're not immediately applying to every job someone sends you. You don't have to explain your financial situation or timeline. You don't even have to explain your entire job search strategy. The people who love you, they just want to fix this for you. But this isn't something they can fix, and that's okay. Your job is to navigate your own path, not to make them feel useful by following advice you didn't ask for. Just give them time before you make that next move. Now, this is where I might lose some people because, again, I understand conventional wisdom says start applying immediately. Just get back out there. Any job is better than no job. And look, if you need a job quickly for financial survival, I definitely get that. Do what you need to do. No judgment. But if you have even just a small window, a few weeks of savings, a severance package, a supportive partner, use some of that time to think strategically about what you want next. Listen, ask yourself, what did I actually like about the last role? What made me miserable that I kept tolerating? What industry problems am I actually passionate about solving? What skills do I want to use more? And what skills do I never want to use again? What does a sustainable career look like for me now? Now, I know the job market is tough, yes, but flooding it with desperate applications for jobs you don't even want, that's not strategy, that's panic. And quality over quantity, that matters, especially when you're competing against hundreds of other candidates. You also have to look at rebuilding your narrative. Being laid off doesn't define you, but how you talk about it, now that matters because you're going to have to say it a lot. You need to be clear. You need to have a confident answer to the question that you'll be asked. What happened at your last company? And here's what it might sound like. The company went through restructuring and my role was eliminated along with others. It was unexpected, but it's given me a chance to be intentional about what's next. Now, notice that answer didn't include bitterness. It didn't include blame or over explanation. Just keep it professional, keep it brief, forward looking. Practice it until it feels natural because the energy you bring to that story matters. Now, the other thing that can be kind of hard, you need to lean into your network, but do it the right way. Here's a hard truth. Many jobs don't come from applications. They come from connections. And I know networking when you're desperate feels awful. You feel like you're imposing, like you're using people, like everyone can see through what you're really asking for. But here's the thing. People want to help. They just need to know what you actually need. So instead of mass messaging everyone you know, asking if their company's hiring, reach out to specific people for certain reasons. Ask for advice, information, or introduction, not jobs. Be clear about what you're looking for. Offer something in return, even if it's just genuine appreciation. Follow up and stay in touch. People can't help if they don't know what you need, and they're much more likely to move for you if you're not making it awkward. Like, just don't go directly and ask for a job. I mean, you can, but that also can make people feel awkward. Now, maybe you're listening to this because someone you care about just lost a job. Or maybe that'll be you someday. Here's what actually helps. Please check on them regularly. The first week just isn't enough. Offer specific advice. Can I review your resume? Beats, let me know if you need anything. Make introductions if you have relevant connections. Also invite them to normal social activities. They need normalcy too. Share job postings that actually fit their experience. Listen without immediately trying to problem solve. Accept whatever emotional state they're in without judgment. And please don't say everything happens for a reason. It doesn't always help certain people. Also, don't repeatedly ask, have you found anything yet? Because they'll tell you. Also, don't treat them differently or with pity. And don't expect them to be positive to make you comfortable. The best thing you can do, be present. Your friend doesn't need you to fix this. They just need you to show up and be okay with the fact that they're not okay yet. Here's what I know about people who've been through unexpected job loss. 6 months from now, a year from now, you'll look back and you'll realize you were stronger than you thought. That doesn't mean the season won't be hard, because it will be. But you'll get through it. You always do. Maybe you land somewhere better. Maybe you'll pivot to something completely different. Maybe you'll finally start that business you've been thinking about. Maybe you'll launch a podcast like me. And maybe you'll end up somewhere that looks similar to where you've been before, but you'll appreciate it differently because you'll know what it's like not to have it. Just like your career, the path forward isn't linear. You've navigated uncertainty before, different kinds maybe, but you've done it. You've adapted when things didn't go according to plan. You've built and rebuilt when something fell apart. You've shown up when you didn't feel ready. And this is just another chapter in your leadership story, not the one you'd write if you had a choice. Now, I definitely understand that, but that will teach you something about yourself nonetheless. Whether you're in this situation now or you've been through it before, you're not fragile. You're not broken. You're navigating an uncertain system that was never built for your success in mind. And you're doing it anyway. And that matters more than you might realize right now. So here's what I'm learning in real time. Losing a job you didn't expect to lose is mind-altering. It changes how you see yourself, how you trust organizations, how you plan for the future. One day you're advising others on crisis management, the next day you're the crisis. But I also know this, you're not alone in this. Right now, tens of thousands of other women are navigating the exact same uncertainty, the exact same fear, the exact same questions. Now, some of them are ahead of you in the process, some of them are right there with you, and then some are just a few steps behind. What binds us isn't the job loss itself. It's how we move through it, how we choose to treat ourselves, how we show up for each other. Listen, take care of the basics. Give yourself permission to feel whatever you're feeling. Think critically about what you actually want. Set boundaries around others' discomfort and unsolicited advice, and rebuild your narrative with confidence. Lean into your genuine connections. This moment doesn't define you. How you move through it will become part of your story, but it's not the whole story. You're still the same capable, resilient person you were before this happened. The ground shifted a little, but you're still standing. You don't owe anyone your comfort. You don't owe anyone an explanation of how you're handling this. What you owe yourself is grace, space with the understanding that you're going to get through this, even if you can't see it right now. If this resonated with you, I want to hear from you. Reach out via email at leadershipstory@substack.com and share your story, your struggles, your questions, because sometimes we just need to know you're not alone in this. Subscribe to the Leadership Story on Substack, and also share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. I'm Lisa Jones, helping you discover the leadership story you were meant to tell.